So let me stop wasting time rambling. Let me get straight to the point, because we have a story that we've been following for months now, and a major development happened Friday, followed by another big development on yesterday. We're talking about the North Carolina Supreme Court race. That election took place back in November. And so on Monday, there was a big development with this case. The Supreme Court temporarily blocked a lower court decision that would invalidate over 60,000 ballots. And so let me reiterate that. On Monday, the North Carolina Supreme Court issued a temporary stay on a North Carolina Court of Appeals order that said that contested ballots needed to be re-verified or thrown out. So I want to bring in now WCNC Charlotte's Julie Kay to sort this all out, because right now, to be quite frank, it's a mess. Yeah.
And it will continue to be a mess, I fear, for quite a while now. I think that's kind of where we're at the moment. You walked us through, Friday and Monday. Friday, the Court of Appeals, which is the one that Jefferson Griffin currently sits on, although he was not a part of the three-person panel that decided this. They said, hey, we're going to agree with Griffin and give voters 15 days after they get their notification that they're impacted again to go back and verify their registration. Now, again, a reminder that these people challenged were a lot of mail-in ballots, a lot of overseas military voters, but some of them were just people who it's been a long time since they registered, and at the time they didn't need certain things and now they do, or it's people with hyphenated last names that it got all messed up in a database.
Yeah.
So we figured out some reasons why these people were on there. So I have spoken with some people who have already taken that upon themselves to go to their Board of Elections and verify that they are valid. But to have over 60,000 people go and do this is a really big ask, only for 15 days. So that's why, Riggs said, I'm going to push back on this. She said she would appeal. The state Supreme Court has already said, we're going to pause this. And that means that they are likely to take it on next.
And as soon as we broke that news here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus on Friday, I remember when it came in and I read it in real time, we expected the appeal to happen. We expected this to happen. So today, walk me through your interview earlier today. So I saw you over there on Zoom. I don't want to spoil it at all, but walk me through what you, the person that you interviewed and what you guys were talking about.
Well, I've spoken with former state Supreme Court Justice Bob Orr a few times. Now, he was a Republican at the time and now is more of an independent. But he and I have spoken a few times about this race, just as it's been going on for the past 6 months. My big question today, though, was what happens now? Because we're kind of in this weird limbo of waiting for this temporary pause to go somewhere. The state Supreme Court still has to say, yes, we're going to take this case on. So once that happens, then both sides will have to put together their arguments. We'll have oral arguments, as you would in any case, and then a decision from them. I mean, it could take weeks, could take months, he said. So of course, with this kind of stuff, they try to expedite it a little faster. And Riggs, who currently sits on that court, has already recused herself from anything related to it. But let's say it doesn't go in her favor. Her lawyers have already indicated that they're going to take it to the federal court, and that would put us right back at kind of the beginning, where we go to the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals all the way up. Even potentially they could petition to go to the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, that's a long way down the ways. U.S. Supreme Court only takes on 50, 60 cases a year. We know how long that takes, but just the big scope of this, there really isn't a timeline at this point. And then you look at what the Supreme Court at the state level is right now. It's a 5-2 Republican majority, and then if Riggs recuses herself, it's 5-1. So it's not likely to go in her favor. Now, Justice Orr did bring up the possibility that some people have floated of, what if we just did another election?
Yeah.
All these people could go and verify their ballots, as he recommended people do anyway. If you're on this list, I know there's a pause, but go check anyway. Make sure you've got all your ducks in a row. But he's like, well, could that be on the 2026 primary? Could you do it in conjunction with that? It just kind of opens up a whole lot of doors. At this point, there's really no timeline.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are voters? How are they feeling? I know you got a chance to speak with one voter, right?
Yeah, they're tired, I think.
I bet.
Even ones that have gone, like I mentioned, and already verified that, yes, they are registered properly, they have other documents, or they've corrected that administrative error. they're exhausted. I spoke with one woman today who didn't even want to use her name, her picture, anything, because she's worried about retaliation, especially because this is such a politicized, on a national scale now as well, a politicized situation. But her and her husband both were on that list. They were two people that, had registered a long time ago, and at the time they had everything they needed, but now things have changed, so they had to go back and verify. Once they did that, they did it the same way. She just sent me some texts that show he was accepted to be verified, she wasn't. They fixed it again, but she now had to follow up multiple times with the Board of Elections. Because, honestly, you think about how many people they're going to have to verify. They're probably not prepared for this right now. Some of these counties are still impacted by Helene or wildfires. So it then puts a lot of pressure on these Board of Elections on top of all this. So I think everyone's pretty exhausted at this point.
And their focus is on the 2026 primary too, probably. I would imagine. It's still early, we still have time, but I'm sure their focus is on 2026.
Absolutely. And I think really it feels more like it now that politics is all the time.
Yeah.
But it really is. Once one election stops, a campaign starts again. And think about if Riggs and Griffin had to go back on the campaign trail after all this. Let's say they do put it on some sort of conjunction ballot in 2026. They are both currently sitting on their respective panels or benches, and they'd have to go back on the campaign trail. You can imagine the ads that we're going to see, how much money they've already spent, both the Republican and Democratic Party have spent on this litigation to then put more money onto an election. It's just a lot of doors opening up here.
Still a lot to sort out, and that's why we had Julie Kay come in the studio to sort this out for us. Because I couldn't do it myself, so
I can't either. To be fair, there's a lot going on.
But you did a great job. Thank you
you
for stopping by the Live Impact Studio. Before you go, what time can folks check out your story tonight?
5 and 6, and that's when you'll have more from my interview with Justice Bob Orr.
And you can also hop on WCNC.com or download the news app. Check out the story there too. Julie, thank you for your time, and
Thank you, Nick.
we'll check you out later.